guys, and welcome back to Crochet College, or if this is your first time, welcome. My name is Mia, and in this video I will be showing you how I create a very simple bikini top using yarn and polyester cord. I like the feel of the polyester cord for this strap because it does create a very simple project. It makes it a lot quicker and it's very secure. But if you would prefer to use your own yarn to create the strap by making a cord, or if you have some other material in mind, that could create a beautiful project as well. So with that, let's get going. To make this project today, I will be using the following supplies. I have this awesome Hint of Silk yarn from Hobby Lobby, their Yarn Bee brand. This is in the color Smoked Silk, and what I really love about this yarn is that it is made with 85% bamboo and 15% silk. So that makes it an ideal yarn to use for swimwear because it's unlikely to stretch or soak up any of that water when you get it wet. I'm using a 2.5mm crochet hook to make sure I get those nice tight stitches so there's no holes for anything to come out of. I love this pair of scissors. We've got a yarn needle to help hide our ends, measuring tape, which will come in handy if you're not making this for yourself, so you know how big to make your triangles. And then I have this polyester cord. This is the cord that's usually used around the straps of string bikinis, so I think it's useful for us to use it for ours, so this way we get an authentic feel and we make sure it's very secure when we tie it up. Like most projects, I am going to begin with a slip knot. I'll then insert my hook and pull that slip knot tight. I'm going to begin with a foundation chain of 9. I want my triangle to be kind of equilateral, but if you want yours to have longer sides than your base, you could increase this initial chain, or if you want yours to be a little bit of a shorter triangle, you can decrease this chain. So this initial chain is only going to affect the height of your triangle. I begin mine with my chain 9, which is about 2.5 inches long. I then chain 2 and work 1 half double crochet into each stitch along that foundation chain, totaling in 9 half double crochets. I now have my 9 half double crochets, and this is going to be side A of my triangle. We're going to have a side A and a side B, and for that I need to work 1 more half double crochet into that last stitch, making 10 half double crochets total on side A. I'll then chain 1 and work 2 half double crochets into that same stitch, making a total right now of my first 2 half double crochets on side B. I will then continue working 1 half double crochet in each stitch across side B so that I have a total of 10 half double crochets on side B. Usually I find myself working right around that tail, so this way I can just snip it off at the end and it's all hidden. Now that I have 10 half double crochets on side A, a chain 1 in between, and 10 half double crochets on side B, I'm ready to chain 2 and turn my work to begin my row 2. Now what I'm going to do is begin by inserting my hook and working 1 half double crochet into each stitch across until I reach that chain 1 space. So I'll have 10 half double crochets before I hit that chain 1 space. Once I've worked my 10 half double crochets, I have this chain 1 space to work into next. This is where I'm going to work an increase. This increase is going to be the same on all of the following rounds or rows. I insert my hook into the chain 1 space and work 2 half double crochets. I then chain 1 and work 2 half double crochets. So in this increase, I added an additional 2 half double crochets to side A and an additional 2 half double crochets to side B. I will then continue by working 1 half double crochet into each stitch until I hit the end of the row. This will make my new total for side A and side B 12, but I started with 10. So if you started with more or less, it would just add 2 to each of your sides. As I finish row 2, I have 12 half double crochets on side A, a chain 1 space, and then 12 half double crochets on side B. I'm ready to chain 2 and turn my work. I do not count those chain 2s as a half double crochet. I just use those to get up to height. For row 3, we are going to do the exact same thing we did on row 2. The only difference is that the stitch count it's going to take to get to the corner or to get to that chain 1 space is going to be different, because in row 1 we had 10, row 2 we made it 12. So for row 3, I'm going to work 12 half double crochets before I hit that chain 1 space and can work an increase. Every single row after this is going to be done the exact same way, except for the final row, where I like to add something a little special to make this look a lot more intricate than it really is. I'm ready to work my increase for row 3. Chain 1, 2 more half double crochets, and then I will continue working into all of these stitches 1 half double crochet. After you finish row 3, you can really start to see that this triangle shape is beginning to form. I want you to continue working this pattern of 1 half double crochet into each half double crochet from the previous round, working an increase into that chain 1 space. Each increase is 2 half double crochets, chain 1, 2 half double crochets, and then working that 1 half double crochet into each stitch until the end for as many rows as you think it's going to take to create the covering size that you want. This is where, if you're making this for someone else, the measuring tape will come in handy, because you can have them measure the dimensions for the height and the base that they want their triangle to be. Or if you're making this for yourself, you can just put it up to your own body and see if that's the amount of covering that you want to have. The only thing is that with this pattern, stop 1 row before the final row, because I like to do something a little bit different on the final row to make this look more finished or more like tailored. So I've worked up 11 rows right now. If you lose count of your rows, I recommend counting it through those chain 1 spaces, because it's a lot easier to see where all of these are rather than trying to count the rows. I feel like that's when I lose count a little bit this way. But those chain 1 spaces make a nice little handy dandy spot for you to put your hook while you count. So this is 1 row before my final row, which is going to be row 12. So what I do for row 12 is I am going to work a peacoat stitch evenly throughout the row. So I know each side on my row 12 will have 32 stitches. So because of that, every 4th stitch I am going to work a peacoat. I only chose 4 because I know this row is going to be divisible by 4 and I don't want to put one at the top. So what I'm going to do is work 3 half double crochets, and then in the 4th stitch I will work a half double crochet, but immediately on top of it I will chain 3, insert my hook through these 2 loops of that stitch. So I'm not going right through the top, but instead I'm going through that front loop from that stitch and then 1 stitch loop below, and I'm just going to slip stitch it there. And it makes this little ball on top. which I'll then repeat that same set of 3 half double crochets and then 1 half double crochet, 1 picot. So it might really, when written out, look more like 4 half double crochets, 1 picot, because that stitch is again a chain 3. Insert my hook through that the front loop of that stitch, and then 1 loop below. I think that's called the 3rd loop. And then I'll just continue repeating this up until I reach the increase point. So I am approaching that increase that I'm going to have to do. I just worked a picot, and now I have 2 half double crochets before I hit that chain 1 space. And now I have to work my increase of 2 half double crochets, chain 1, 2 half double crochets. For the next side of the triangle, to mimic this awesome picot little bobbles at the side, I am working my first 2 half double crochets, and on that half double crochet there, I will work my picot. Same way I've been working it, just through that front loop and that 3rd loop. And then a slip stitch. I'll continue working this pattern of 4 half double crochets, 1 picot, all the way down the side of the row. Now you can see that I have all the picots going down the side. I make the choice that although the pattern dictates that I should put a picot here because it's the 4th chain in or the 4th stitch, I choose not to. This way I have the same number of picots on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I am a big fan of symmetry. So after you do that final row, which has this beautiful border on it, we are going to begin continuing, or really continue this around this bottom portion of the cup. So what I will be doing is chaining 2 to get up to height, and then I want to start to kind of really shape this into a round cup by working 1 half double crochet into the side of each of the rows. So I know I worked a total of 12 rows, so I need to have 12 half double crochets on each side. So I've done my 12 half double crochets for one of my sides, side A or side B, I don't remember which is which at this point. But now I have this big spot here that I need to go over. So I like to keep my tension pretty tight as I work my way through to the next side. Let's call it side B. The reason I like to keep my tension pretty tight is I want it to really start to form that cup shape. I'll continue, that was my first half double crochet. I'll continue working 1 half double crochet into the side of each row until I make my way to my end. So at the end of this bottom row, you will see that the cup has started to form its shape. So it's very difficult for me to, well, not very difficult, I can force it to lay flat, but that center bulges up, and that's exactly what you want. You want this teardrop shape to be 3-dimensional because it is going to hold a breast. So the last thing I'm going to do here is just work a slip stitch, and I'll use that to finish off the work. And then I will weave in this tail with my yarn needle. The way that I like to weave in these tails to make sure they're very, very secure is there's a slip knot there that I made, and then I go through the side of the final row, kind of right underneath the bottom of the stitch, And I'll go through like 5 or 6 of these and then pull it through. After that, I want to make sure I've only got one tail in there. After that, I'll loop around one of these little legs here. So you can see that there's this little, it looks like the front loop from the previous round. I'll loop through that, and then I will go back through the bottoms of all of those stitches right to the end. Poke out the side. And I don't want to pull it too tight because I don't want to create like any extra holes. But now this tail has gone up through, around one, and then back through. So I know it's not going anywhere, and I can just cut that tail off, and it is buried deep in that work, and nobody can even see it. So I'm going to repeat all of those steps to create a second cup. I now have both cups, and the next step here is going to be to crochet across both of these and encompass this string between the two to make our string bikini. However, for my measurement that I needed roughly 31 inches to be able to wrap around my body. This cord that I'm using is very stretchy, so I cut mine to be about 40 inches. I don't like sewing, so I just cut the ends and tied knots. But obviously if you are a sewer and you wanted to stitch yours up at the end to make sure you don't get any frillies, that's totally an option. So what I do is I turn the cups upside down. I'm going to start all the way over on one of the cups as far to the side as I can get, and I'll pull up a loop, and from here I'm going to work 1 half double crochet around the string. I want to make sure that I position the string so that my yarn working end is behind it, and I can work that half double crochet right around it. I will continue working 1 half double crochet around each of the following stitches, making sure to keep that strap or that string on the inside. I'll do this all the way across the first cup. Once I get to the end of the first cup, I want to make sure that I've got a nice little spacer in between. So I usually crochet about an inch between, maybe an inch and a half, depending on how much space between the two cups I want. So for now, I'm going to crochet a total of 6 half double crochets between the two cups, just to make sure that there's a nice spacer between them. Then I will resume half double crocheting around the strap all the way across the second cup. Once I get to the end of the second cup, I will chain 2 and turn. I'll then work the same peacoat pattern that I did across or around the top of the cups along the bottom. So for me, I'm going to work 3 half double crochets and then 1 peacoat all the way across this row. After I finish working that row, I can finish off my work. And I'm going to hide that tail, very similar to how I hid all my other tails. Just kind of slide it in and out of that side there. And after I've finished hiding this tail, I will be able to work on the straps for the top of the bikini. Again, I never want to pull those finishing those ends too tight, because I don't like the look that you can get gaps in between. But so far, I absolutely love this. I love that it's got these awesome little peacoat stitches going along. I feel like it almost looks medieval with like just the color of it. It's got this nice vibe to it. But as you can see, they are shaping into that teardrop shape. So all we have to do now is get these straps for the top attached. Now in many of my crop tops and bikinis, I have just made the straps using a cord from the same yarn. So that's always an option. However, for this one, I am going to use the same polyester cord, but doubled up to make it nice and extra hold. So to make these straps for the neck, what I'm planning on doing here is I've cut 2 straps that were 30 inches in length. However, I will not be using all 30 inches. When I fold it together, it's about 15. So I insert my hook into that chain 1 space there, and I pull through some of that polyester cord. From the front to the back, or either way, whichever way you prefer, I then pull through those 2 long tails and just really tie on the strap. Makes that nice little edge, and whichever side you prefer as the top can be the front or the back, depending on if you like that solid knot or if you like the look of it kind of peeking out the top a little silver. I then do that again. I fold another 30-inch cord in half, go through, find my chain 1 space, and pull through the cord to make the space to do the loop, and then I just pull through both of those loops. Once I've got both of these straps attached, the next step is going to be just to make sure that I have these 2 together. I mean, I guess this is kind of optional, but I like to tie these 2 straps together. So I hold them at a point that they're both about the same length. I don't want to stretch it because then I have the opportunity to add extra tension to one of them. So I keep them kind of loose and I just pinch them together, and then I tie a knot. And I do my best to keep them at the same tension, so this way it's not some wonky one of them bigger than the other. But I've got my strap now tied so that these 2 become one. I'm going to do the same thing on the other strap. Once you have finished attaching your straps, tying them into this cute little knot, you have finished the project. So I have this awesome crocheted string bikini for this summer season. So this is a very simple project that you can make in a day. I adore how closely I make these stitches with that 2.5mm crochet hook, because I don't find I need to line it. Once it's up against your skin, you really can't see anything. It creates a very opaque fabric. And since I used the bamboo and the silk, it's not likely going to swell when it gets wet and soak up any moisture. So I'm hopefully going to see minimal stretching. This is the material that I prefer to use for bathing suits, but if you guys have another material that you think works really well, please let me know, because I would love to make a pattern using that. But the other thing that I really like about this bamboo silk combo is it doesn't feel rough against my skin. It feels very soft and smooth, and I tend to have really sensitive skin for textures, so this is why this material works well for me. Plus, I've been trying to go more towards the natural fibers, and bamboo and silk are more natural compared to like acrylic or other synthetic yarn types. So with the exception of the polyester cord that I've used, I've created a pretty natural fiber project, in my opinion. You're entitled to your own. So overall, I do like the way that this bikini looks on me, and more importantly, I like the way it feels on me. One thing I've struggled with the crochet tops like this where they're fitted is that the cord that I've made to hook it onto myself doesn't feel like it's gonna hold. It feels like it's gonna slip over time, or it slips very soon. Or for the cotton crop tops, if I've made it out of the cotton cord, I feel like there's a stretch component to it that over time it does stretch out. So I like that with this elasticy type cord, which is usually used on regular bikinis, I have a more professional feel, and I know it's not going to fall off of me while I'm wearing it. So overall, this is one of my favorite bikini tops that I've created, and I hope you enjoyed creating one on your own following these instructions, and I hope you added your own flair to it, because that's the fun of it. As always, thank you guys for crocheting with me. If you did enjoy this pattern, please remember to leave a like and subscribe to my channel so this way you know when I come out with something else new and exciting. I hope you have a great day.